All right, guys, we are live with a special edition of Taking the Time. We wanted to make up for missing Wednesday's show due to some scheduling issues, and then our guest wasn't available. So we thought we would do a little special edition unboxing of a Doxa 300T. So, Brian, I think we were talking about what was it, like a week or two? We were talking about like the most iconic dive watches, and we came up with three, and then we realized that we overlooked one. And
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, no, it was this it was like a week ago this past Friday, because I remember I was driving to Florida to get my diving certification.
Yeah.
And I just had Bluetooth in the car, and we were talking about that there was four really iconic diver watches that it's kind of has really moved all diver watches forward, and some have basically been reproduced, or kind of the style has been borrowed tremendously, and on some of them, and we can go over those pretty quickly. I mean,
yeah. Let's introduce those four watches that we're talking about. The most iconic dive watches of all time, and this is arguably, absolutely, arguably, what myself and Brian have decided are the four most iconic dive watches.
Oh yeah, there's no. You feel free to add whatever you want. You can yell at us in the comments. Call me up and tell me off if you want. That's fine. But yeah, I was either way. I was driving, and I was on Bluetooth. We were talking.
So number one, in no particular order, is the Rolex Submariner.
Has to be in there. Love it or hate it. That has kind of taken over the world of dive watches.
And it's got to be the most recognized watch. I mean, I would probably argue that the Rolex Submariner is the most recognized watch in the world. It's been around since 1953. It's changed very, very little. I think the original one was, I know the original one was 40 millimeter, and then now, just most recently, it's 42. I believe the Submariner was 42 millimeters now. But the case, the lugs, the basic design, the dial layout, minimal changes,
everything.
Yeah, plexiglass or crystal to sapphire. That's like. That was a revolutionary change. The bezel's been Bakelite, and then I think the original ones were Bakelite. I could be wrong on that, but I know the GMT was, so I thought that the subs were too. Very, very, very first Submariners, like what was that? The 5508 was, I think, the first reference, somewhere in there. Anyway, we're talking too much about the Rolex. So, second one.
What year did you say that came out?
1953, the first Rolex Submariner.
All right, another gem. 1953 must have been a crazy year in Switzerland. I don't know what was in the water. I'm sure more people than I think of know this, but I just learned this. 50 fathoms. Originally, 1953.
The Blaupunkt.
Right there next to the Rolex Submariner. And what a wild year. I mean, two watches that have just changed the face of divers altogether.
And both of those are, I really feel like the benchmark is 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet, 300 meters. That's really how the benchmark came about, I guess, because the Submariner has been a 1,000-foot watch for the longest time, or 300 meters. And so is the Fathom, the 50s Fathom. I always get that switched up. But I'm surprised we don't see more homages of it. I know that Grupo Gamma Dive Master is a similar version, and then also Hemel makes a version that's kind of similar too. But I mean, the Rolex is like everybody does a Rolex sub style. So, that's two of them. So the third, we're going to call that the Seamaster.
Omega Seamaster, yeah. I mean, definitely
That's the one that's probably went through the most change since its inception, because I think it's been around for this. They've used Seamaster on a Omega in a number of different ways, but the 300 is the one I'm thinking of. I think it was that's the one I don't know the history very well on, but I think it was in the 60s that's the S&P 300, that vintage watch that everybody loves, that they've came out with recently.
It's evolved into isn't the Planet Ocean or the Aquaterra? Isn't that a?
I think that's the challenge.
Or it was the Seamaster, and then it split off and became its own thing. Something.
Yeah, because I mean, we got the S&P 300, then we got the one that everybody knows is the Bond Seamaster, which is the one I think of, the one that Pierce Brosnan wore, and then I think Daniel Craig wore it as well. So that's the iconic Seamaster I think of. But yeah, we got
I have it. I didn't bring it in here.
The polyproof or whatever that has the weird
prop or
whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
orange. That's been going on for a long time too.
Yeah.
Really probably one of the first seriously heavy duty looking watches. And those, when I kind of just started getting into those and finding out a little bit more about them, and they actually are, they have a pretty good history, and they've been making those for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a large, I mean, it's a good size piece of metal. And
yeah. And then the last one, and I think this is probably it's iconic, but I don't think a lot of people realize so much that it is, unless you're a real either scuba dive nut or a real dive watch nut. But the Doxa 300, and I mean, Clive Cussler made it famous in his books, most notably Sahara. If you've seen the movie Sahara with Matthew McConaughey, he's wearing that orange. I think the one that he was wearing might have been like a 1200T at the time, but it's, they've had various iterations of that watch throughout the years. So that's our four, iconic dive watches. And when you think of the Doxa, you don't realize how many people have actually mimicked that watch. It came about in 1969. It's been in those books. It's been in movies. But what you don't realize is they created that case, and then I think it was Seiko had a variation of that case. And then there's a list of brands that immediately started copying that case shape and design. More recently, you'll see Nathan's. Is that how it's pronounced? Nethuns.
I thought it was Nethius
is a micro brand. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah,
I
apologize if anybody out there has that one.
Almost, forgive me for a lack of better words, but they almost directly rip off the Aqualung variation. Have you seen the picture that, like, I'm sorry, that's the only way I can say that. It's got like a scuba diver type logo that looks like the Aqualung logo from the scuba brand.
Yeah.
Then there's NTH does the Devil Ray, which is a very similar model to the Doxa, and I'm sure there's others. I don't know. But I actually had one of those Devil Rays, the first version that came out, the turquoise style. It's a beautiful watch. The bracelet had a nice quality to it, felt really good. But anytime I buy a homage, I just don't keep it long because it just makes me want the real thing. I'm just, call me a watch snob or whatever, but I can't. I just need the original. So a long time coming. We've got this guy right here, and if you've
there it is.
Hung in for the 10 minutes, this is the unboxing of the Doxa 300T.
watch of the day that was just on my wrist. It's a
That's
Seiko.
a Seiko.
Yeah.
Is that a tunnel? Is that what they're called? I don't know Seikos very well.
Yeah, it's a Seiko Samurai or the
Samurai.
SRPC 07. Also, it's Prospects or Prospects, however they want to pronounce
They
that.
do.
Not exactly sure.
They do a Patty version of that.
Yes, they do. There's some really cool stuff. They do a lot of they still do a lot of work. They're a massive company like some of these other companies we're talking about today. Not very micro or anything, but they do a lot with saving the environment, same as Patty does. So they kind of go hand in hand. And
yeah. Oh, we do you realize what we did? 2 scuba divers sitting here talking about Doxa, and we didn't mention Jacques Cousteau, the most famous scuba diver on the planet. He wore a Doxa, or still does. But yeah. All right. Yep. I got to open this watch. And this is where I'm going to need to learn to get another camera.
Yeah.
But this is what we're going to do. All right. So first thing I noticed in this case is that they used to do these little scuba tubes. The booklet, the warranty card.
Very cool.
Fits nicely in the box like that. That's how that came, if you're wondering. All right. A nice blue. You know what this reminds me of? Kind of, I don't hope I'm not giving anything away, but the style of this case is kind of like what Iconic is going to use for their diver, except for this is square, and I think theirs is more of like a donut or a round shape. Ivan's going to be that flavor. I'm supposed to disclose that, but and I could be wrong, but it did seem like it was something similar to that when we were talking about packaging. So, I mean, think about, Ivan's doing something on the level of Doxa, which is not surprising, but impressive. So, all right, let's get into that. Oh my!
There it is.
So, like I said, see, no cheating. I didn't open this up.
You really didn't. I'm very proud of you. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to contain myself.
So, incredible. Wow. Yeah.
Jacques Cousteau's, basically just like his watch. That's amazing.
Yeah. So let's see if we can take some of this packaging off.
3 hours later, and I know it's
we should have
the watch
planned some information for you to share while I was doing this.
Well, yeah, I mean, as you said, Jacques Cousteau with the Doxa, to me, that's kind of the. I might catch a little flack for this, but I imagine if I ever got one, I would kind of, and being a diving enthusiast, and us both scuba diving, that looks fantastic. But wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't argue with Jacques Cousteau behind the name because he's the most famous diver in the world. So,
right.
Kind of, it's the last diver you would probably ever need to buy. Now, does that necessarily mean you're going to stop buying watches? No, never. But look at that.
That's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Well, yeah, you see, actually, this one, the orange here. Wonder where they might have got that idea. Yeah, obviously, this is a much newer model than that one. So,
yeah. We're going to have to do the history of the orange dial and see who did it first.
Yeah, because ironically, well, you know this as a diver, it's the second color that you stop seeing underwater.
Yeah.
So usually it starts with red, and the very last color you see clearly is, you go through the rainbow and then keep losing.
Sean said, "Great Doxa." Absolutely. I I literally check the website every day for months for this to come in to be available.
Happening shop.
So,
how are the goats, brother? I need to borrow one of those goats and eat some of the vegetation in my front yard. But
that's if any of you guys are paying attention to me posting watches of my own personal collection to sell, this is why. So
good.
Look at that finish on the.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
and they're solid. They're solid. They're totally filled. All the links are filled and everything. No, I doubt.
I mean,
I highly doubt they went cheap hollow links on something like that. So
I'm gonna have to size it. Yeah.
Oh, and what are the dimensions on that one?
42 meters. So the 300 is a 42 meter case, and then
that is massive. 42
yeah, it's solid.
150 feet.
Huh?
42 meters. That's almost 150 feet. You just said it was a 42 meter case.
42 millimeter.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, right. Walking around with
these poor people watching the show.
Sorry.
42 millimeter.
Sorry, you two.
They, you can tell I'm new at this. This is the first time I've ever done an unboxing because I'm just like, oh my god, I'm fiddling around. But I mean, wow, it's
exciting.
Very, very pleased. Yeah, they make a 1500 T, which is a 45 millimeter. Emilio, that's a plug for you, bud. That's the model. I talk to Emilio pretty often about Doxa, and that's the one he really, really wants. So,
yeah, but that size would be a little more my.
Yeah, and I think we had mentioned it too. But man, what a mint piece. I'm just I can't wait to get it sized up and to actually get to wear it. It's funny when I'm looking at all the details of this piece, like the side profile, the gas escape valve. The double ray is actually quite different in a lot of ways. The bezel, the way the bezel sets up, kind of like a old school bottle cap flipped upside down. It kind of reminds me of. So there's a lot of nuances that are quite a bit different from the Doxa to the NTH if anybody's comparing.
It looked like it sat almost up like a crown, like a king.
Yeah.
Where it really, coming from an aviation background, it reminded me on Chinook helicopters. There's one big nut that holds the heads, each head onto the helicopter. And it actually reminded me of that. And they're really funky looking. I mean, they're massive. But that's really cool. And then when a lot of times it's easy to say in you look at a picture and you say, oh, this looks like this, or this looks like that. Okay. It may be in that picture, but to have it in hand, now you're really saying that, you could definitely see the difference, tell the difference. I'm sure that looks like it weighs a pretty good bit.
It's got some weight to it. It's a ETA 2824-2 automatic movement. That's the movement they're currently using for the piece. It's a chunky monkey for a 42 for sure. Yeah, it's unique in its own right, considering it's an iconic piece, but it's very different from pretty much everything else you see. Probably because there's so many Submariner looking watches, but the beads of rice is an iconic bracelet in and of itself.
Yeah, fun to that.
I'm you can tell I'm just super stoked about it.
I think you should be. I mean, I know you've been wanting that for a long time.
Yeah, for years.
And that's such a cool piece. And I mean, with the history and, coming, it really hasn't changed.
No, man. If you Google the 300T, the from the 69 or from the 70s, they look pretty much the exact same. I'm going to assume that there's a plastic crystal on the original. Um, I don't know that for sure, but I do, if that makes sense. So I mean, just some modernizations, loom and things like that. They come in Caribbean, which I think is like a navy blue. The Shark Hunter, which is a black dial. The Diving Star is a yellow dial. There's a turquoise, and then there's a silver. I think the silver has a name. I just don't know what it is off the top of my head. But I don't know if they still have. I don't know if they still have any more orange dials or not. But the orange goes like that on their website. So.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the iconic picture of Jacques Cousteau swimming, under the water somewhere, and wearing the orange Doxa, and it, I mean, it just screams history, diving, everything cool, and so people, I guess, totally geek out, and that's okay.
That's definitely what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Did it have fully drilled lugs or?
Let's see. Well, no, it's not. So let me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I don't. That's one thing that you could look and see if the original ones did. And I want to say that they did have full drilled lugs on the original models, but let's go ahead and go to the Doxa website and see if they are still available, and then the free ad for the Doxa watches right here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add to the cart, and no, they are sold out of orange. So those are gone again.
Yeah.
And I'll put the Shark Hunter's the black dial. Let's see. Let's see. You can get a black dial. The Dive Star. I think the yellow is the next popular. Let's see. You can get a yellow. Turquoise. Yep. I think the orange is the only one that is sold out right now. I just put turquoise and yellow and the black Shark Hunter, and they're all available.
Of the Doxa, I kind of think of almost like the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch. Actually, Boliva's made a Moonwatch as well that's been on the moon. As far as chronographs, those are pinnacle watches. Really at the height of human experiences, at opposite ends of the world. One's on the moon, one's under the ocean. So, it's I kind of put it up on that pedestal, like, this one's just got a little more street cred than this one and this one, But, we did talk about, 3 other fantastic watches. They're all extremely nice. They're all expensive, and the
Doxa is by far the cheapest one.
Oh yeah, it is. It is actually.
The Rolex is the most expensive. I don't know. They're probably around 10 grand, give or take. And then the Blaupons up there too. The 50 Fathoms is, I think it's around $10,000.
Yeah.
Forgive me. The 4Dive watches just kind of sparked the conversation. Speaking of conversation, we are going to expand on those 4 watches in a mini series coming up soon. So some of the future with the channel, me and Brian and Ivan were talking about. We're creating this channel, and since Brian did so well filling in for Ivan, so me and him are going to have our own show going forward. Ivan's going to have his own show. And then we're also going to do special guests, and we're going to, pop in and out of each other's shows and things like that. So that's kind of what we're doing going forward. So we're really working on building this channel of entertainment for watch collectors. So spread the word. Make sure you like us. Make sure you subscribe. It's all going to be on one channel through YouTube, and then we got it on our Facebook, and then we do have the podcast on Anchor, so that's through Spotify or Apple iTunes, and then there's a bunch of other mediums for the audio only that you can access. So we'll be doing some more of this type of show, me and Brian. So he's not just a temporary fill-in now. We will be doing a lot more together, and we're going to create some new content, hopefully that people are enjoying. So that's kind of the future of the channel. Brian, I know I need to give you some time because I've been chatting for feels like 10 minutes straight.
That's great. Kind of like Brad said, we had a chance to, get on speak with Ivan, who seems to be doing really well and just fantastic. I got to see him for a few minutes, spoke with him. He's doing real well, and he should be back very soon. But much to my surprise, I am being retained. I thought I was just kind of a pinch hitter. Now that the baseball season has actually started, for 60 game season, but this isn't about baseball. This is about watches. So, I had planned on just being a temporary fill-in for Ivan. Ivan seemed to like it. He likes what Brad and I have been doing, and he wants to build off of that, do some really, really cool stuff, bring out, more watches, be able to showcase more brands, more brand owners. I mean, it's really going to be something that hopefully is very enjoyable. And we promise to work on the whole time thing, because we know we've gone an hour and a half, and we're both very sorry. But thank you guys. Thank all you in the community who have somehow managed to bear with that and listen to us babble on about something for an hour and a half. You're much more patient than I am. So, I mean, really, and it's my honor to be joining both Brad as well as Ivan. And, it's a great team already established. I'm really, really happy and proud to be a part of it now. And I really look forward to moving forward, and hopefully bringing some more exciting stuff, not just whitewashed walls behind us and everything else. We'll decorate our stuff with clocks or so. I don't know what we're going to do, but
I'm gonna put this in the background.
There it is. That is the new Mitchell Timepieces aviation inspired T-shirt.
Yep.
And that appears to be in a dark gray with white Mitchell script. Available on your website?
No, if you are interested in one, just contact me directly, and I can make that. I can make that happen for you. I don't even have a price or anything to quote right now, but they're probably around $25. I'm not really sure. I don't plan on necessarily marketing apparel per se, but if somebody wants a T-shirt with Mitchell on it, I can definitely make that happen. Pretty much just be a direct transaction for them.
How big can you get them? I'm not a little guy.
I'll find out. I'll see what we can do. I've got new blue pins, the same as the gray ones. I know there's a couple people that have some gray pins out there, exact same style but different color. I should have some photo updates for the Raider very soon. Also, before we wrap the show up, I've got some renderings of the Power Reserve model that we're going to do. So everybody that's listening in, if you're a Mitchell guy waiting for your Raider, I'm going to be getting the prototypes for the Power Reserve about the same time I get the batch for your Raider order. So I'm not trying to cram something else in before I deliver something. My business model indicates that I should be getting prototypes for the next model as I'm getting the first batch of, the batch for whatever I just completed, right? So hopefully that makes sense, but should have some production updates, and then I'm going to start sharing the images of the renderings for the Raider Power Reserve model that I haven't even named yet. So I was calling it Project Shade for Made in the Shade, which is a B25 that's here local. Haven't decided if I'm going to be able to incorporate something in with that to make the connection. But for now, we're just calling it the Raider PR.
Yeah,
Brian,
I'm interested to see which watch gets to me first because I have the Raider ordered. I also have the iconic Helicline
yeah,
ordered.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one's going to get here first? Now, I do have a prototype of the.
I think before we wrap it up, I think that you'll be getting the iconic first, just because he was a little bit ahead of me on production. So I hope to be delivering about 2 weeks behind him. So
Cool.
I think that should be the timeline that we're looking at.
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun getting both of those in.
Yeah,
We'll
have to do an unboxing for Ivan for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you can't trust me to keep the box closed, but I'll do my best to fake it, opening it back up again. But
I'll tell Ivan to send me your watch.
Yeah, just yeah.
All right. I think this is a good time to wrap it up. We're trying to keep this at 30 minutes, and it's at 31 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in, watching the unboxing of the Doxa 300T, and we'll see you. Probably Wednesday. So in a few days. Have a good one, and make sure you like, subscribe, comment, feedback, give it to us.
All right, thanks, guys. And this is Brian Coach, officially part of the team. So,
all right, thank you guys for taking time.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah.